Hi, it's Reverend Chris Taylor here, and I wanted to talk today about 8 ways to be your best self whilst working from home. I think it's really important that whilst we're in this strange new world of virtual meetings and lots of phone calls and messaging and Zooming, that we take care of ourselves and that we are aware of how others are as well. I think that's really, really important. And if you see me reaching up like this and doing that, I'm touching the screen on my mobile where there's a wonderful picture or series of pictures of 8 ways that we can be at our best and keep ourselves at our best whilst we're working from home. I would say to you that one of the things that I've noticed working from home is that it's really easy just to get caught up in what you're doing and lose track of time and carry on either side of the working day. No one's seeing you, no one knows what you're doing, and it's a weird thing. I found myself working quite late, I found myself starting quite early, and I found myself still sitting in my study, not taking breaks and not going off to try and catch up with the world outside. So that's one of the things, is just take care of yourself and make sure that you're not getting sucked in to a weird and wonderful, almost exclusive pattern of work. When I say exclusive, excluding everything else. Now, the other things on this list, obviously the first one is get dressed. Particularly if you're working from home, it sets the tone. If you're in your gym jams or your dressing gown or whatever you do or don't wear to bed, it probably doesn't really help, particularly maybe when you're Zooming with your head of your department if you're in your gym jams. So get dressed. And another thing, which I share with a lot of students on a much broader scale, but write a to-do list each morning. Now, I often say, well, look, timetable yourself, so that you have something that's flexible, that you can dip into and dip out of, that isn't going to tyrannize you and limit you, but something that liberates you from distraction and liberates you from single-minded pursuit of one thing. A bit like what I was talking about right at the start. So do write a to-do list every day. Stay hydrated. Now, there was a thought once upon a time that staying hydrated meant ignoring all the coffee that you drank and all the tea that you drank and everything else and concentrating on drinking gallons and gallons of water. But actually your tea and your coffee can also be part of that hydration regime. But if you're going to be staring at a screen, Freudian slip, if you're going to be staring at a screen all day or a good chunk of the day, dealing with emails, Zooming, which is really quite tricky, isn't it, when you're Zooming and you've got 3 different people or 6 different people in your meeting and you're looking from one screen to another and you're trying to look interested and engaged. Well, sure you are interested and engaged. If you start to get a headache, one of the reasons won't necessarily be because of the screen or just because of the screen. It might well be because you haven't had enough to drink. So do please stay hydrated. Take regular breaks. So when you write your timetable, make sure that within that timetable you've got some time out for you, even if it's just moving from where you're sitting to do your work into another room, or if you're stuck in a flat or whatever it is, or a bed sit, then move from one place to another place. So you have your workspace and you have your chill space. It's really important that in these times when we're in tight proximity and that we find extra space for us which isn't work. And if you get a phone call or a messenger message or whatever from someone at work about work, move away from your relaxed space and back into your workspace to take it, so that there's no confusion. Keep those boundaries. They're really, really important. On your break, have a treat. Give yourself a treat on your break. And make sure your breaks are little and often. It's a really good thing to do. Also, set aside a time when you can avoid distractions. Now, I find this really difficult. I get distracted by the wind blowing outside, by birds flying around, by the mess in my bookcase. As you can see, I've tidied my bookcase. The mess on my desk, as you can see, well, you can't see and I'm not going to show you. It isn't tidy, I have to tell you. So maybe there's another space where you go, where you can just focus down and spend some time in quiet, just being you. It might be that you meditate. I use, as I've talked about before, I sometimes use stones, I sometimes use music, candles, whatever it is, but a time when you can just care for your inner self and take care of that and make sure that that's a meaningful, useful time. Try not to let the cares of the day intrude on that. Exercise and keep moving. Because of lockdown, I've had to stop playing squash. I've stopped playing tennis. I walk further with my lovely wife. But in terms of full-on rigorous exercise, I'm a complete failure. Now, my friend Barry Shine, he's been showing us running up and down his garden and doing all sorts of things. We actually have no excuse if we've got anywhere outside or even room inside not to exercise. We can do all sorts of different things and they don't have to be particularly spread out for it to work. You could do things like squats and press-ups and running on the spot and all that stuff. If the fancy takes you, you can do press-ups and burpees and all sorts of weird stuff that I barely understand. Me, I'm going to go out to my garden at some stage today and I'm going to put some trainers on and I'm going to run lengths of the garden to and fro, to and fro, to and fro until I feel as if I've had half a game of squash. Then I might have a break, cup of water, and then do the same thing again. And then if I'm feeling really great, I'll do it again as well. So do remember to exercise and keep your body moving. Do stay in touch with colleagues and peers. Yeah, this is really important. It's not just about our work colleagues. It might be about colleagues in other institutions. So we can stay across what they're doing. We get best practice from them. Or we can find out a bit about what they're doing that they're finding difficult and what and we can pat ourselves on the back because we're doing things that are good. But do please stay in contact with colleagues and peers. On a wider note there, outside of just working from home, actually living in lockdown, which I'll probably try and do another reflection on at a later date. But living in lockdown, it's really important also that we stay in contact with our friends and family. So that might be something to do in one of the breaks that you give yourself during your working day, something to look forward to, where you can make a call to an old mate who you haven't spoken to for a while, or your best mate who you only spoke to yesterday. But do stay in contact with friends and family and stay in contact with colleagues and peers. Don't lock yourself away. If you're having a bad day, that's the day to get up and ring your colleagues, ring your friends and find out how they're doing. Get a bit of input from them. Sorry, the last one is keep your workspace clean and tidy. Sorry, total fail for me. I know where everything is, but tidy it ain't. Organised it is, tidy it ain't. My shelves are hugely organised and I know what's on them. My desk is a complete clutter. But I know where the stuff is. The phone's over there, the transistor radio's there. The screen you can't see is directly behind me. Many Coloured Days is there. I'm going to read that tomorrow. And stuff for theology and reflection on the Bible is also close at hand. Paracetamol there. Lovely picture over there. Yeah, I know where everything is, but it's a wreck. But actually it is important. If you can get your workspace tidy, it'll make you respect it and yourself maybe a little more, and make it easier for you to function in that working from home environment that we all find ourselves in. So today's resolution for me is tidy your desk. Jan, I'll do it now. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Bye bye, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.